Hey guys, what's going on? So in this video I will be talking about scopes in JavaScript. So without wasting any time, let's dive into it. So types of scope. So basically there are two types of scope in programming. The one is dynamic scoping and the other one is lexical scoping. The scope that JavaScript use is the lexical scope, so we will be more focused on that. But we will also cover dynamic scoping. I will show you an example, and I will also show you what's the major difference between the dynamic scoping and lexical scoping. So let's get started. Let's dive into lexical scope. Lexical scope. So there are two types of scope in lexical scope. The one is global scope, and the other one is the local scope. Global scope. So let's start with this simple example. So here we have a variable a equals to hey, which is defined in the JS file, and it is defined at a global level. And then we have this function myfunc, which executes this console log function a, and then we also have this console log out of this function, and then we are calling this myfunc. So if we execute this function, when it comes here console log a, this line, it will look for this a in this entire code, in the global scope. And here we have this global scope a. So here we have this a, so it will print this global space a, which is hey. So here we have this output global space hey. Then it will execute this myfunc, so it will execute this line of code, console log function a. So it will look for this a inside this this function, which is actually a local scope. But here we don't have any a, so it will move upward, and here we have this a. So it will get the value from a, and then it will console log it, and here we will have the output as a function space hey. So this is one of the most simple example. Let's get into this one, another complex example. Here we have again this var a equals to hello world, and then a function main func, and inside in this function we have another function which is just console logging a, and then we are returning this child from this main function. So here I didn't call this main function, but we are supposed to do it. So when we call this main func, it will enter in this main function, and then it will return this child. So it will enter in this child function. So here we have this console log a. So console log a, here it will look for this a in this function, and we don't have this a here. So it will go upward in this main function, and it will check for this a in this main function. And the unfortunate thing is we also don't have this a in this scope. So it will move again upward in this global scope, and here it find this a hello world, and it will fetch the value from this a, and it will console log it, and we will get this result of hello world. So you see this this is the lexical scoping. The function first, the value which we want to retrieve is checked first in this function. If we find it, fine, just print it. And if we don't find it, let's go one step up in this function, find the value of a. If we don't find it, move one step upward, and then again check this. If we have it, fine, just print it out. And even if we don't have it here, then it will be undefined. So let me show you in the code editor. So here we have this basic code which we just saw on the slide. So let's execute this code, and here you can see this output console log which was expected. Now let me comment this, and let's try it again. And here you can see this a is not defined because we don't have a anywhere in this code. So again, this console log will check for the a in this child function. If it doesn't find any a, it will go and check it in this main function. If it also doesn't find it here, and then it will go to this global scope, and even then if we don't have any a, then it will give us this reference error, which is a is not defined. Okay, let's move on toward local scopes. So here we have this a equals to outside function, and then we have a function myfunc, where we again have this a equals to inside function, and here we have console log a. So on executing this function, when we call the myfunc, it will come inside this function, while a equals to inside function. So it will make a new variable with name a, and here when we do console log a, it will look for this a inside this function, the myfunc, and fortunately we have it in the function, so it will be inside function. And if I do console log outside of this function, for example here, after the myfunc, so what do you think? What will be the result? Can you guess it? Yeah. So if I log a here, it will be outside function. So let me show you in the code editor. Okay. So we have this first a outside function, and then we have a function where we again have another a, which is inside function. And then I will console log a, and I will call this myfunc, and after that I will console log a. So let's see, and here you can see this. First we call this myfunc, and inside this myfunc we console log a. So when we console log a, we get this value inside func, and after that we have this console log a again, but this time we console log this function, this a. That's because this console log is in the global scope, in the global context. So that's why when we console log a, it will just fetch the value from this a. Okay, moving on. Here is another complex example. Here we have a equals to 1, and then inside the myfunc a equals to 2, and then inside this myfunc we have a nested function, myOtherfunc, where we have again a equals to this, the one. This actually I was typing this is the one. Okay, so I'll get a bit of typo. Okay, and then we are returning this myOtherfunc, and then we are calling myfunc. So on executing this code, we call the myfunc, and when we call the myfunc, it will come down here and return this myfunc. So here in myOtherfunc, we console log a. So then it will check for this a here in this function, where a equals to this is the one. So so it will just log the a, and because we have it here. Okay. Now coming to this difference between dynamic and static. By the way, the another name for lexical is static. Okay, so the most simple definition you can say is the dynamic scope means from where the function has been called, and static scope or the lexical scope means where the function is executing. So let's first take a look at this dynamic scope. So here we have this a equals to 10, and then myfunc console log a, and then my function func2, where we have another a equals to 20, and then we return func. So on executing this code, we call func2. So on func2 we get here, and then we return this func. So when we come here, we console log a. So now this kind of code will check whether we have a inside this myfunc or not. So here in this case we don't have my a here, so then it will go to this function from where it was called. So this is one of the this is the biggest this is the major difference between dynamic and static. Here we will go to the function, to the place where this myfunc was called from, and it was called from func2. So here we have a equals to 20. So this is the one, this is the value that we need. So it will fetch a, and it will console log it. Okay, now coming to static. Here we have the same example as here you can see it, and on executing this code, we call func2, and we go inside the func2, and then we make a new variable equals to 20, and then we return this func. So here, when we go inside this func, we console log a. Now this code will this will check, and the execute scope will check whether we have a inside this func or not. And again, we don't have a here. So now notice the difference here and in the dynamic and static. In this case, if we don't have a here, so then it will just move toward the global scope and and get the value of a from here. So this is the difference between the dynamic and static. Here it moves toward the place from where it was called from, but here it doesn't go to the place from where it was called from. So that's the major difference between static and dynamic. So here we will console log a. So this was all about scopes in JavaScript. Hope you liked the video. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you.